Let me say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Those of you viewing us via GBN TV, Channel 7, Channel 11, Channels 20. Those of you also via social media platforms, good morning and welcome to this edition of To The Point. I'm your host, GT, with you this morning. And this morning with us, we have, of course, on Thursdays, we do entertain various departments within the RGPF. And this morning, we do have with us the CID. And we have this morning Officer Kimber Coutain. I try not to remember your name, I think I'm right there.
Close enough. Kimber
Coutain. Yes. My apologies, sir. My apology as always. I'm that bad with names. Welcome to the program this morning. Our conversation this morning will be based on gun crimes, and there's so much to talk about. It relates to gun crimes. We've been seeing the trend of it lately. Of course, going around, we've been hearing numerous incidents that has occurred in relation to guns and so forth. We're going to talk about that this morning and get a feedback from you, and of course the concerns from the RGPF as relates to gun crimes on island this morning. I'm not sure if there's any opening comments you would like to make that relates before we get into the meat of the conversation this morning.
Well, I would say good morning to you and the listening audience, viewing audience also. At this time, we recognize it's very relevant to address the issue of gun violence.
Yes.
And in effect, we have in fact the amnesty that has taken effect on the 1st of May. Runs for a period of 3 months, ending July 30th.
All right.
And this is something that we want to elaborate on to encourage, to inform, and to direct our people. For those of us who may have in our possession any illegal firearms or ammunition,
right.
This is a grace period for that where you can hand in, and there's certain conditions and certain requirements in respect to you knowing what is expected of you as a citizen to abide with the law, because once that period is over, I will say that it's not business as usual.
All right.
The penalties will be much steeper once caught by the police in illegal firearms. So we encourage the listening public to pay particular attention to direct our people, our friends, our family members, our children, our co-workers, that you need to listen up, and you need, in fact, to adhere to what this provision is giving us, that grace period.
All right. As you kicked off with that, when you're getting to the amnesty, let's diverge our conversation to start off on that segment. Tell us a wee bit about the amnesty and what is entailed in the amnesty that folks should follow suit to.
Right, so in reference to the statutory rules and order number 8 of 2024, which was gazetted 29th of April 2024, what it simply states is that I'm recognizing that there is a large amount of firearms in our country, that the authorities would have passed a bill, and that for that period of 3 months, you can bring in a firearm, you can have your lawyer, you can drop it at any police station, and there's no criminal implications. No questions will be asked in respect to who you are or the circumstances in where you came by that illegal firearm. It's just to drop it in, and there will be no charges against you.
All right.
Right? But with the certain things we advise according to that order is that if you're coming in, you should at least call in advance and say, I'm coming in the event that you're intercepted before coming to the station and you're found. So you have certain clearance there saying that I did call so-and-so time, and then courtesy will be extended to you, and there would be no criminal consequence in regards to you being in possession of a legal firearm.
All right. Expand on this one a bit. When you say no legal consequence will occur to an individual once they carry in a firearm, how could you expand on that a wee bit for us this morning?
Well, ordinarily, if the police finds a gun in your possession, ammunition, you will be charged, right? And if you're charged indictably on indictment, you can be fined no less than $20,000 or no more than $60,000, right? And that is something is a lot of money to pay, really, and in fact, it also carries prison sentence.
Yeah.
However, on this period, the amnesty period, that will not be brought against you.
All right.
Notwithstanding that we have a responsibility to carry out investigation in the event that firearm was used in a crime.
Yeah.
So we will investigate in respect to that firearm and so forth. But for you, for being in possession, respect to being in possession of a firearm, there's no charges laying against you.
All right. So it's a bit of a clear way for individuals who may have firearm in their possession. You bring it in, as you said.
Yes.
Inform the particular department or police station or wherever you're going to decide to bring that firearm advance.
Yes.
Hey, look at for me at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever time, I will be coming with a firearm.
You don't have to say who you are.
You don't have to say who you are.
At so time, indeed,
But,
I am coming to this area.
And have it. You can do it in person, as also you mentioned. You can do it in your person, or you can have it your lawyer to carry it in for
or you
you.
can bring it up to police headquarters, to officer up there, or any station.
All right. What's the process and procedure for that when that occurs in terms of individuals bringing in firearm?
We just collect it.
That's
we
it.
ask you no questions.
No questions.
No question asked, no documentation as to who you are, your personal data, nothing like that.
Nothing of that.
Is that grace period for you? To get it off the street.
All right.
Yes.
That's of course, for some folks will be happy to hear that if they do have it in their position. Now, you did mention there's going to be some procedure that will be taking place when the firearm comes in. For some reason, there's going to be some investigation. If for some reason, it's just a question that's going through my mind. There was an incident that has occurred where a firearm was used. Maybe there were no, of course, information that of course, the type of firearm or whatever. Someone brings in a firearm, and the necessary tests and so forth was done on that firearm and realized, hey, this firearm is responsible for a certain incident that has occurred. How would that be dealt with?
Well, we would investigate, right? And I will not spell out the...
I understand.
Right?
I understand.
But we must investigate, and we must bring closure to matters.
Yeah.
Right? But we recognize in fact that, as I said, the amnesty is in respect to possession and possession of firearm and possession of ammunition.
Okay.
Right? And we have a responsibility to investigate if their firearm is used for a crime. So at least we can bring some closure to statistics and closure to the family involved and so forth.
All right.
Yeah.
So what if after that amnesty has expired just a wee bit, and in the process of doing the investigation realize that particular firearm was used in I understand you said no names will be asked in terms of who brought it in.
Yes.
But what other process there goes through now?
Well, right.
I mean, there could be someone who is listening to us this morning and have all these ideas or questions in their mind. I have this firearm, I brought it in. Maybe it was given to me by someone for some reason already for holding, but I decided I want to get it out of my possession. I want to carry it in. But during the investigation, it was found out, X brought this firearm. We didn't get X name, but of course we know in person who that X is.
Yes.
You understand? And during the investigation, we found out, well, this particular firearm was part of a whatever incident that has occurred already.
So you see, the concept here to really understand is that we are encouraging persons to have that moral standpoint, to do the proper thing.
Yeah.
Right? This is a starting point. And once a person recognizes that, here what, I have something that I not need to have, it's not legal, it's not a right, because even to understanding that anyone who's in possession of a firearm, for some reason, they have that false sense of invincibility, that nothing can happen to them, they're on top of the world, they can retaliate. Having they not had possession of these items, their response will be totally different.
Yes, okay.
Right? So it's a certain point when you hand over to the police. However, upon reaching to that point where after the amnesty and we realize, due to our investigation, we will have to investigate to whatever extent. Right? You already made a starting point, and that will take into consideration in respect. Not saying that you being in possession, you're the one involved with the crime.
Okay.
Of course not.
Okay.
Whereas it may be, sometimes it may not. However, only how we will determine that is when we do our investigation in respect to a crime, no longer the possession of ammunition and firearm.
All right. Gun crime seems to be dominating the airwaves, the social media platforms, and so forth in Grenada lately. And recently, we have various incidents occur. How concerned is the Criminal Investigation Department in terms of the number of gun-related crimes that we are hearing about lately?
Well, very concerning. And I would always say this, that one crime is too much. And we have seen too many gun-related incidents over previous time, and as recent as last week and so forth. Because these gun-related crimes, it affects life, it affects society. The tranquility of a country is in question, and it's a lot that's been affected. These acts, in my opinion, is evil and it's selfish acts. One should never be so motivated to the point of responding with a firearm, a gun, and even to the extent of it being a fatal result, taking of life. So it is alarming, it is concerning, and hence the reason that we have seen this in the past and have already taken steps. Now, the public may ask, what is the police doing about this? And they may say also that we are not doing enough. But the fact is that the RGPF, the CID, the police by extension, have been taking lots of proactive approach in respect to these gun-related incidents. There have been a lot of outreach community programs, a lot of meetings with those young men who are similarly involved with gang-related or gun-related incidents, group sessions with them with the hierarchies, the commissioner of police and his senior team. And there are continuous outreach where the police have taken steps in an effort to eradicate or to reduce these types of incidents. So there's a lot of police has been doing, but we're not putting it out there, really, in fact, because a lot of persons may not like the publicity. And if that's the case, they are a little bit reluctant in taking part in what we are doing. But there's a lot the police is doing because we understand that these types of incidents affect lives.
All right. There's another word that we could say is the causes. I'm assuming from the various community outreach and so forth that the various departments have been having, speaking to individual. What are some of the alarming causes or the departments are hearing why we are having such a bit of an uprising in the gun-related incidents? What are some of the causes are you hearing out there?
Well, one of the major cause is having a gun in your possession. As I explained earlier, once you have a gun or firearm in your possession, your response will be a lot different. Will not be ordinary having you not had it to begin with, right? But we have seen and noted that a lot of the music. And
or the influences of music.
Yes. And tying with that, we have to give some responsibility to even persons yourself who are tasked with entertainment and the types of music that we choose to play on air, because it plays into our subconscious.
I think I'm a little out of it.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying you, but not everyone will understand that the selection of music do have an effect on how a person behaves.
Yes, I understand that.
Right, and people would always say, drink bush for people fever, and what we have seen a lot is that in our neighboring countries there are a lot of gang affiliations and numbers associated with that, and we have seen our young men and women affiliate themselves with it.
So it's a bit of a copycat.
And because of that, there has gang development. The 6s, 7s, 8s, and these sorts of types of gang affiliation, and it's affecting our people. Because they don't understand, it doesn't have nothing to do with you, but they bite over, and I am associated with that, and because of that, you can't be here, you can't do that, because I'm this, and all this kind of nonsense, really. So this is one of the contributing factors that we have observed at our platform at CID, because we have a lot of interactions when we in fact encounter youths and men and women with possession of firearms. We have dialogues with them to understand, in fact, what is the cause, what is the influence to them as to why they involved in these type of activities. And when you hear the response, it's alarming. Because we are in Grenada, 100,000 thereabouts,
or less,
and less, or less, and when you hear what they are saying, because these people on the other end, they are this type of group, and there's nothing orienting from Grenada. And that is concerning. So at this point, is very important to encourage our parents, our community members, our churches. You will have someone in your workplace, your friend, you might be on a block in the evening after work relaxing or whatever, and you will hear certain remarks, encourage them, discourage them. For the line of thoughts and the affiliation and the gang-related topics and so forth, because these things would cause a response that is negative, and we need to create change because it's very concerning to us. Very concerning to us.
What are some of the plans from the RGPF to put a curve in this in Grenada? What are some of the plans that you all have? Yes, the amnesty is one that is in effect. What are some of the plans out there? I mean, I don't expect you to give out full details, but what are some of the other plans that the RGPF, inclusive of the CID, plan on putting a curve in this, the activities that we see that brings out that gun-related incidents that we've been having? What are some of the other
Well,
plans?
first of all, is to increase on the awareness on the amnesty.
Yeah.
That's very important. To encourage people to turn in
Yeah.
their firearms. To increase, we have increased and we continue to increase boots on ground.
Yeah.
Right? You will see a lot of police presence in areas, a lot of interceptions. We want to encourage the public to give the support, because what we're doing is a cause.
Yeah.
We need to cause a dent in this type of alarming activities, and as a result, you will see increased police presence. There are times where you may be inconvenient because of maybe your travel, you get into a venue, coming from a venue from work, and you're tired and so forth, and you may see the police might engaged you.
Yeah, there may be traffic stops and so forth.
Thank you. I ask the public, just be a little tolerant to us and understand that we all have to do this collectively so we can address issues. Because we understand person maybe travel even with vehicles at certain time with these illegal items, and we need to be out there. And I always say every time that we cannot fight crime in office, we have to be out there. Yeah. So increasing the boots on the ground, engaging with the young people in the streets. We have done many of that, and we continue to do that. Going out there and sit and talk and try to educate, because a lot of times I realize that the majority of our young people, our men and women, they're not aware as to what the law is. And they feel because that it's normalized in their community, that it's accepted and it's legal, it's legitimate, and it's not.
And we call that bit of an ignorance of the law.
Ignorance, yeah,
Yes.
lack of knowledge. And it's our responsibility as law enforcement to educate also, not only to apprehend and to bring to justice those persons who are in conflict with the law, but to reach you at an area where you are and educate you, and so doing deterring you. And likewise on these forums here at social medias and so forth, to bring forth our message. Because we do recognize that the majority of people that do listen to these programs are not necessarily the people that we want to reach. But we all have a part to play, because when I educate you in a position, maybe a teacher, you might be a politician, you might be a doctor, and you will have in contact with people, and you knowing better in an opportunity now to educate someone who doesn't know, and so doing, causing them to be a more law-abiding citizen, and thus reducing the crime, gun violence, and so forth.
All right. Of course, I'm going to be due for a break. Let's take it, folks. We'll be right back. Stay with us here on the program this morning. We're talking, of course, gun crimes this morning here. Stay with us, folks, and of course, we will entertain your calls. If you do have a question or two you may like to ask as we go through the program this morning, we'll be right back. Stay with us, folks.
Get ready to witness the ultimate showdown of athleticism and adrenaline. The Whitsuntide Games are back, and they're bigger and better than ever before. Join us on Saturday, May 18th at the electrifying Kirani James Athletic Stadium. The action kicks off bright and early with the morning session starting at 9 a.m. sharp. Watch the best local and regional athletes go head-to-head in a battle for glory and supremacy. But wait, the excitement doesn't stop there. As the sun sets, the evening session ignites at 4 p.m., promising even more heart-pounding action and jaw-dropping performances. Secure your spot now. Finish line A, lower and upper, $30. Finish line B, lower and upper, $25. General admission, main stand, $20. Get them now at gotofed.com. Mark your calendars and be there to cheer on your favorites as they strive for victory at the Whitsuntide Games 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for Grenada to laugh again. Heritage Theatre presents Spice Laugh Comedy Bash 2024, Saturday, June 22nd and Sunday, 23rd June at the Trade Center in Grandance, and on Sunday, 30th June at the Deluxe Cinema in Grenville. Showtime, 7 p.m. every time, featuring some of Grenada's best ambassadors of comedy: Robert White, Dillion Walters, Kareem Alexis, Dale Bola, and other outstanding comedic performances, all coming to knock you off your seats with laughter. Get your tickets now. Bring out the entire family. Tickets are $60 and available at Mitchell's Pharmacy in Grand Anse, Gittins Health and Wellness at all outlets, Art and Soul Bookstore, Spiceland Mall, 3B's Shoe Store, downtown St. George's, Calico Supermarket, Grenville and Sutez, St. David's Pharmacy, and Go to Fet. It's time for Spice Laugh Comedy Bash 2024.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back, Officer Coutain. Let's get back into the question this morning in terms of our conversation that relates to gun crimes. Since the amnesty took effect, can you give any statistics that is out there that already may have been received from the RGPF that you have, if you may have that, in terms of guns that have been already been collected since the amnesty took effect? Has there been any relevant figures that we can speak of?
Yes, well, since the amnesty has been in effect, May 1st, we have in fact collected. Yes. But those numbers being tallied at present, so I will not be able to give a total at this point in time. All right. However, what I can say is that in comparison to last year, for the total of last year, we had 38 firearms recovered off the street.
All right. And that's without the amnesty being in effect. Without the amnesty.
Right. This had to do with police intervention and arrest and so forth. All right. And so searches and seizures and so forth. Right. But for the period of January last year to May 15th, being yesterday's date, there had been a total of 16 firearms recovered. In comparison to this period, this year, we had 19 firearms recovered from January to May 15th, being a total of 18.75% increase of firearms off the street. Well, when we look at the cases of reported firearm incidents, we had a total of 66 for the total year of 2023. But for the period January to May 15, we have a total of 27. In comparison to this year, we had 39. Now, we see there is a 44.44% increase. And this is why I spoke earlier about the issue of it being alarming. Yes. Because we are seeing an increase of reported incidents of gun-related incidents. And that is something that I think the amnesty is very timely. And I believe the people of our country would recognize and understand the importance of driving this cause forward for this 3 months period. All right. Turning your firearms.
I mean, listening to the statistics that you gave, it's a little bit alarming, knowing that our little country is Grenada, and of just a couple of months in the year, we have that, of course, number of guns being recovered, even incidents occurring. It's a bit alarming. In terms of, I'm not sure if you have that information you may be able to share with us. How are we getting to that? How is it getting to that level with the number of guns that is available on Island, especially around young people on Island? How is that really occurring?
Well, I would say that once there is drugs, the transit and the trafficking of controlled substances and so forth, it comes along with firearms. And we understand that there's a lot of areas where we may consider to be open port that is not as policed as it ought to be. You know, these illegal firearms would come in, right? A lot of time we intercept and we continue to drive our efforts towards limiting these illegal entries of these illegal firearms and controlled drugs. Right? Yes.
What are the plans from the RGPF in terms of manning these illegal entry points, or making it taking more stringent measures in terms of manning these entry points, to curb that problem that seems to be existing?
Well, what I can say for a fact, there is discussions. There had been discussions in respect to the heightening of these border patrols and interceptions, and there have been an increase in recent times, thus resulting in the apprehension or the recovery of firearms, and that's a fact. So the plan of the RGPF is to increase already implemented methods in addressing these issues, and increase it as much as we can, and encourage, because I would always say that policing is not done by the police alone, and which I must encourage that for the audience who are listening, that if you see something, you hear something, pass information across to the police, because we all have a part to play in keeping our country safe and keeping our borders safe. And also, I like to encourage in respect to people who are coming to our country legally. There is a process, there's a procedure in which anyone should come in. And if someone comes in illegally, one would only think that they are also coming in with something illegal or for some illegal intent. So if you see someone strange in the community, you see vessels coming in at certain bays we have views of, draw it to the attention of the police. We all have a part to play. It's our responsibility. And I'll draw reference even to the criminal code, section 47, that speaks to duty in preventing felonies. And we say felony means serious crimes. And gun-related incidents are felonies, right? And we need to all come together in helping the police in keeping this country a safer place.
How harmonizing is it with the community and the police in terms of gathering those information in terms of gun-related incidents or knowing its use of, I know someone in a particular community that is possession of a gun. How harmonizing is that relationship has been?
Well, it's a work in progress, to be honest. It's not as where we would like it to be, where it's 100%, but it is what complementing, recognizing that the community, in fact, at large, are more buy into our cause, as opposed to the small percentage of those who have not yet understand or buy into our concepts of crime prevention and reducing gun-related incidents. So the community have, in fact, worked well with the police, but we continue to drive that message across that everyone, be it adult or child, man or woman, would understand that we all have a part to play in continuing working against these incidents.
All right, great. I'm noticing a question here from someone via a social media platform, and they're asking this question. I hope it's in sync to our conversation this morning. I sort of have the feeling it is. They asking the question. The question, can the police be indirectly creating gang activities? They're asking this question indirectly. And the reason why they ask it, then they want to explain it a wee bit. And they say, no, a young man goes to bring a complaint. He has been beaten or stabbed, etc. And the police detains him. He was released. He gets his boys. He go do the revenge. Many times the police never even speak to the offender. I'm guessing just a suggestion the individual is making here. How do the police rectify this particular situation? Of course, to ease the friction that has been occurred there.
Well, I must say, caller, your point is very valid, and I would say the same. I have the same response. It's a work in progress because at the CID. The RGBF, by and large, there are some areas, in fact, we need to improve. And that is one of the points that, I think that anyone who's listening as law enforcement would recognize that we need to buck up on certain areas. Sometimes we may miss the ball drop the ball, and it may cause some form of retaliation as indicated by the person who has responded there. But that's something that we need to work at and look at. So wherever is there an area where the public recognizes a case like that, bring it to the attention of the officer in charge of the station or department so these matters can be properly addressed. Because it's unfair to deal with an incident from one side and not going to the other side and properly addressing it, thus reducing any form of retaliation or continuation of any incidents of violence. All right.
Great. So I hope that, of course, your response is efficient there for the report. I have another question from someone who's asking this, and they're saying, what is the government giving the individuals who turns in guns? In most countries, they are paid for returning their weapons. Do you think that they should be paid with bonds or actual money? Do you really think that the music is causing the guns? I think it's more drunk and a power struggle. That's a comment making by someone there. You have a response to that?
Yes, I can. We'll keep it in context. With the purpose of this amnesty, it's clearly spelled out.
Yeah.
The purpose of this time is to give person an opportunity to turn in a legal firearm or ammunition without any criminal implications. Right? And I think it might be important to emphasize this point by drawing a reference to the consequence, what the law says, as is. If you are found with a possession of a firearm and ammunition on summary conviction, you can in fact be charged, as I said earlier, no more than $20,000, no less than 2 years in prison, and no more than 5 years.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing here, once you're found with a firearm, you ought to be in prison, and fined.
Yeah. So it's a fine and confined, as some folks would say.
Yes. Right? And an indictment is even more severe. that if you conviction indictment, then you can, in fact, be fined up to $60,000, but no less than $20,000.
Yeah.
Or you can spend up to 20 years in prison, no less than 5.
For just being in possession.
Being in possession of ammunition. So what the amnesty is providing here, an opportunity for you not to go to prison for 20 years.
And even have to pay that sum of money also.
Exactly. Because even more so, seeing the rise in violence, gun violence, deaths-related incidents, you think at this point in time, you not take the opportunity that the consequence will not be great? I can promise you that. It will be greater. Have this period ended. So it's not a case of money being awarded for you doing the right thing. It's a case of you, doing the right thing and not serving any form of sentence or being fined or any consequence.
Right.
It's a win-win. Because the one gun off the street, because a street bullet kills, you understand that?
Yeah.
So we should encourage and not be motivated by any monetary contribution. Because this is the opportunity that we all need to take at this point in time.
I want to go back to a wee bit in the terms of statistics once again. What are the statistics that are out there in terms of deaths related to gun violence, maybe for the last year and of course, the first quarter of this year thus far? Do you have that particular statistics out there?
I can provide, right? Well, I'll give for 2023, total, we had 18 homicide, 16 murders. Yeah. Because understand the definition of homicide is man kill man.
Yes.
But a murder is different, where there is non-capital or capital, where there's a motive, where harmless person died because of some form of death. Or grievous harm caused to that person, right? For the period of January to May 15, and that's the period we're working with for now, there has been 9 murders and 9 homicides, and 7 murders.
Yeah.
Right? In comparison to this year, the same period, we had 9 homicide and 8 murders. And there has been 3 related homicide of gun violence for this year so far.
All right.
So out of those is 3 murders, gun-related incidents.
Gun-related incidents.
Yeah.
And that is comparison to 2023 and 2024 thus far.
Yes.
All right. Hey, folks, we're moving up to make that 22 minutes on the upswing before 10 o'clock this morning. We due for a break again. Let's take it. We're coming right back. And in the next segment, we will invite your calls from your viewers and listeners this morning. If you do have a question or two, you wish to post it via social media, or you have the option of calling in 435-2041. We have the option of also calling in via the WhatsApp. Feel free to do so in the next segment. Stay with us, folks. We're coming right back. Don't touch it out.
Flavor in every sip. Discover the refreshing world of...
A call to protect our children. Innocent lives brought into this world. Fruits of the womb, boys and girls. Young lives born into families, longing to be loved and protected by society. Meanwhile, there are persons who are focused on abusing children, ravaging their innocence, pretending to be their friend, appearing to be genuine and a source of protection. They are the same ones who are armed with deception. These wolves in sheep clothing must be exposed. A lot are walking around and nobody knows. It's about time that these abusers feel uncomfortable in society, for the things they do to children is a disgrace to humanity. Our children's cry of no, help, seems to fall on deaf ears. Abusers still ravage them despite the painful tears. There are children who have been abused for many years by people they know. It's like no one cares. Can we not hear the screams of our children as predators continue to use and abuse them? So many died, gone too soon, should have been here to glow and bloom. Together, let's stamp abuse out of this land. As a united force, yes, we can. Wipe away the tears from our children's eyes as we create a society that is free to thrive. I call on all of society. Let us take a stand, for the power of change is in our hands. Make abuse of children a thing of the past, a society where children are free at last.
Rock the box, we say, yeah. GBN, we say, arts and culture living, yeah. Rock the box, we say. I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box, we say. I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box, we say. We'll be jamming here on a Thursday. It's a
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. Welcome back, Officer, of course, Coutain with us this morning here on the program, folks. It's to the point. Now we're talking gun crimes this morning. I did mention before the break, we will welcome your phone calls here for you listeners and viewers. If you do have a question or two you may like to ask, and I will beg of you to just be brief with your question, please, so we can accommodate as much as possible. Let's take our first caller. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning. Caller, good morning. You're welcome. Caller, good morning. You're welcome. Guess that caller has, for some reason, I'm not sure why we lost that caller there. 435-2041. A question I may like to, I want to ask as we await callers to, of course, entertain us this morning with their questions. In reference to the amnesty, what would the RGPF would like to see in terms of the outcome of the amnesty?
Well, we would like to see that the amnesty period is successful in respect to the firearms, illegal firearms and ammunition being taken off the street and turned in respectfully.
All right.
Yes.
Let's see if we can entertain this caller. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. I want to, and good morning to your listeners as well and viewers. I want to say one thing. I want to compliment the police for taking in this initiative in what you call education. And the officer did mention that it needs to be continued. We really need that. Although the amnesty is there, there's a lot of misinformation, and I think the police is the one that should, to a greater extent, coming out there and interacting and giving the people the information as to what that amnesty entails, because it's the police that they have to actually to deal with. Yes. In relation to confidence, if that is my major concern, officer. My major concern is that of confidence, the population confidence with the police. I've had some incidents, and trust me, it does not give me any impetus, any willingness to go to the police to give information. And I know that if this amnesty has to effectively work, the population, the citizens have to be integrally involved. What assurance can you give to us that persons will not be implicated when they so call or give information to the police in relation to this amnesty? Because let me tell you something. The situation out there is not nice as it relates to the confidence. You call the police and they tell the person your name. So how do you allay the fears of the population in this regard? Thank you and have a good morning.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. Officer Coutain, you respond to the caller?
Yes, thank you, caller, for that tremendous contribution. In response to your question, take it in two folds. One is to remind persons that there are two things to take in consideration: making a report and giving information. A lot of times we get carried away by understanding the two. Yeah. If you have to give police a complaint relating to something involving you, then obviously your information will have to cross-share it because it's a complaint. Yeah. However, in information, you just state the fact or the suspicion, and we respond to it in the absence of who you are. So, second part, it'd be wise that whenever you give information, state, I'm calling to give information, this information, and hang up. Right? Or you can, in fact, have a contact, a police, someone in the RGPF who you have trust in. and you can communicate via that person, through that person, and you maintain that confidentiality. Right. It's a work in progress, and I thank you, caller, for that.
All right. So complaint and information.
And information. Two totally entirely different things
altogether. All right. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, sir. I want to find out from the officer if he had a situation where someone came into the country illegally, and that said person they gave up themselves to law enforcement, subsequently giving themselves to law enforcement after. They came in illegally, and they subsequently gave in themselves to law enforcement after. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. I guess you understand where the caller is coming from.
I understand the question. I have not yet experienced or had any encounters of anyone who legally came in and willingly gave themselves up. I've dealt with numerous illegal immigrants, and not one has willingly volunteered themselves into police custody. Yet.
All right. Okay, let's entertain the caller via WhatsApp. Good morning and welcome.
Oh, hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I sat here listening to the officer, and I'm very impressed. It's the first time I've heard details of what is happening and what can happen. I am very appreciative of him. And one caller said that if you report something to the police that you've seen and you give your name, that person, that officer would go and tell the person that you saw and give them your name. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but it has happened to me. I was asked if I saw something, and I said, yes, I saw it, and I told them who the person was. The officer went to the person and said that I say. So I had lost confidence in the police. I really have. I didn't respect them whatsoever, and I didn't get any satisfaction when I went and reported. But anyway, I hope things are better.
And we lost the caller there for some reason. The guess connection issues there. You want to respond or we move on?
Yes, I must respond in respect to that. I apologize for that encounter. It's one that we never encourage. But what I can say to you is that the senior officers at the RGBF have been addressing these issues and reminding and retraining officers as to the better approach in these instances.
All right.
I trust that will never be again an encounter for anyone going forward in the future.
All right, great. Let's take this caller. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, GT, and good morning to the officer. Officer, I just want to say something on this going, all right? We have, as you know, Grenada have a lot of places where boat could pull up and people don't see. I wish that we could have a thing in place that all fishermen that going out have their base, so you know which fishermen that go out, what time they go out. And then perhaps we have a patrol on the sea to watch the operation that's taking place. I know you cost a lot, but we have to come out with something that what we could help the situation. Citizens deserve to live in peace and quietness in the country. And you're looking for solutions, so we're showing out that, because if you remember, these young people and them you find in the gun with, some of them don't even have a passport to say, well, they go and they put it in a grip and they come. You have a lot of good citizens. We're not looking at them, but we're only looking at the young people. The guns is coming in, so we have to try to catch it before it breed on the island. So the boat thing is one. Those who bringing in the trafficking, the goods or what, perhaps better thing to identify what they're bringing in and could help us, because we cannot afford living in our country and rest. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. I haven't heard that word in a long time. Grip.
Yeah, grip. Suitcase grip. Yeah, but the caller is complete. Mm-hmm. Yeah, doesn't want a response.
All right. 435-2041, 435-2041. That's a number. If you do have a question or two as relates to, of course, our conversation this morning. We're talking gun crimes here this morning. We make reference to the amnesty and so forth. Of course, the officer speak a wee bit about that. And if you do have any concerns and questions you may like to ask, feel free to do so. 435-2041. Officer Coutain, we know that the amnesty will be up in 3 months. And before my question, let me just entertain this call, and then I, of course, come back with my question. Caller, welcome. Good morning. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, go right ahead with your contribution, please, caller. Go right ahead.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's just a little thought that came to me in regard to the confidence with the police. I'm just looking at the fact that maybe we can start with the police going into the schools, and we can start as young as the preschoolers because they do understand. And, just letting them know about the police and stuff like that. How, the police is their friend, and not to see the police in that light. And we can take it to the primary schools. I know there was a time there was a police boys club. I don't know if it's still in existence. And I think it's a wonderful thing to go to the schools where we have the young children so we can instill in them these things so that they will know that, we can go to the police. I can talk to the police. The police is my friend. So that we can, ease up on a lot of the things that's happening. It's just a thought that came to mind, and I do so as an educator. And why I say the young people, I know I have experience with young children, preschoolers, and I know it's a good way. When we go to the children, they can bring the message home to family members. So it's just a thought, and I just thought about sharing it this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much, and great idea.
Yeah, thank you, caller. Rest assured that the RGBF have had discussions, and in the past and continuously we have done these school visitations, and we continue to do it because it's a good starting point. Educate the young one. The police is your friend indeed.
All right.
Yes.
We do have another caller. Caller, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. So how are you today?
Not too bad. Would you mind lowering whatever device in the background, please, before you proceed?
No problem. Officer, it's something nobody talk about, and I think it will be much better and more gun will be coming in if they go this way. Instead of people thinking of paying the people with a gun, what's about if somebody steals somebody that have a gun and they all get it? If you're paying people who know people have guns and they come to you all and say, them should be the ones getting the money, should be getting the cash. And I think you all will cover much more gun than they are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution this morning. And what are your thoughts on the suggestion?
Point taken. Point taken.
It could work in some way or the other. If I could gain from, of course, giving out information, it probably could work in the favor of the police. Could be. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, Jitin. Good morning, officer. Now, it has come to me this morning that I do not know if this may have been addressed before, but I want to ask the question. The illegal ports of entry where guns usually come in, what attempts have been made by the police force to look at these illegal ports of entry, and what has been done to cope to stop the illegal guns from coming in? Thank you.
Thank you, caller. I think we did speak on that.
Caller, we did speak on it earlier, but just quickly to recap, is to heighten the border patrols and increase the presence of the police in respect to these areas. And as I assure you that the senior officers of the RGBF have been conducting discussions in a proper approach and methods in implementing these precautionary measures against these entries.
All right. 435-2041, 435. And again, of course, Officer Coutain, I was saying, after the amnesty has ended, and we get to the stage where now anyone is caught with a firearm, we know of the necessary adjustments or amendments that will be made to the law and stuff that is in place right now. In terms of what's your take on that? Do you think that will be a sort of a deterrent for individuals wanting to bring in firearm if they know that if I'm going to get that sort of penalty implemented on me, would I still hide it away or not want to bring it in at all?
Well, there is a lot of determining factors as to what someone may do or respond. It's never black and white to say we impose or the lawmakers impose a steeper penalty that would ensure a reduction in gun violence or would encourage the bringing in of these illegal firearms. However, it is an approach that needs to be taken. Methods need to be taken also. all geared towards trying to curb this issue. We have to start somewhere.
All right.
Right?
Understandably so. Yeah. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Hi, bless. Good morning. I'm calling for the program.
Go right ahead, please. You're live.
I was looking at your program, right? And I think a lot have to do with the youth having nothing to do. They're getting involved in a lot of things that they don't have to get involved in. So I think it would be nice if the police officers would have a youth forum throughout the whole island to educate and be friends with the youth more than being an enemy. Because I know of certain time that people find out certain things and they tell certain police officers, and the officers is friend with the perpetrator, and they go back and bring news to them, and that sometimes the perpetrator watching you as an enemy and they're going to attack you anytime. That putting people's life at risk. And even if I know somebody have a gun, just saying that I would even afraid to even tell certain officers certain things, you know. So that is a concern to elder folks in the community and stuff. And sometimes people face with problems and they're even afraid to go to the police because it's like the police hands sometimes are tied with the laws. They can't really do things to assist you. So you have to understand all of that for people in the public, you know.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. I guess you could just have the caller's statements you were making.
Well, confidentiality is something that we see reoccurring. You know, having that level of confidence in the police in respect to confidentiality, it's something that is a growing progress, really, something that we're working towards and improving on. Yeah. But I would like to encourage you, caller, that as I said, we have a more responsibility in working together. Find someone who you can trust. And if you can't find someone, you can speak to someone in authority in respect to RGPF on the fort, perhaps, a police headquarters. Speak to someone, find someone, cultivate someone who you can channel those concerns with, and let we work together. And bring our country back to that state of tranquility. Right.
And because I'm picking up from a lot of the callers this morning, and even from folks making their contribution via social media, confidentiality seems to be a concern a whole lot. Course. You know, folks thinking, well, maybe if I do this, what are the consequences it relates in retaliation from me? Not maybe with the police, but with whoever is the perpetrator that I am complaining about. You know, and I see confidentiality seem to be a big concern there.
Yeah. But I am pleased to say that I am working with several officers who are high on confidentiality, and I can assure you that that is not a concern going forward if you make that contact with these officers. Yeah. You know, reach out to your CID, the station closest to you, and try to find that person. And it will be resolved, because once you do risk assessment, yes, you are concerned about information, and in the event information get back. But what if you do nothing? That's another concern here. What if you fail to take action in respect to stopping that person who have that illegal firearm or have those intents? What will happen? You could be that next victim. So it's our responsibility to work together. Drive forward, look at the bigger picture here, and find that person you can have confidence in and channel your information. Let us work together. With it.
We're going to entertain our final caller before we take a wrap for today's program. We have approximately a minute left. Let's take this caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, DT, and good morning, officer. I'm just trying to maybe a little bit advice to the officers approach some of the guns, illegal guns. For instance, those guys who do the shooting, they must be practicing some way. They must be practicing some way, and most times in the gunny tank. So if you have what you call range officers or police rangers or what it is, that peruses the places at 6 in the morning, 6 in the evening, and 12 midday, you may find practicing at that time with the first part. They must practice materials, and you can find that. The next thing I do, those who have legal firearms, they should have one area they practice at a certain time they practice, and then they must have ammunition that numbered, and they have a certain amount of ammunition they use. They have to give account of what they use and what they use it on or for. So then you have these covered, and you have to give them an area that they practice and a certain time to practice. So, and then you will find a lot of people with guns that are not supposed to use, because they must practice some way. They must practice some way. And the other thing that the lady called about and say, when you talk to officer, she go and tell the person's friend. So what you have to do when you give the officer information, you have to take the officer's number, take his number, take his name, everything, and then you report it. So, well, I talked to this person here, and he'll let it out. So then the commissioner of police could deal with that person for confidentiality, because the police and him does that, because I know of incident that happens and he cause a problem. So that's why you get a situation. But if we could take the name of the policeman, the number of the police officers, and we put it back and say, well, this is one give the number, this one I spoke to. So then you could deal with him. That's how you could get the informant inside the police station. There's a long way we could work things out if we work together. We could get it done. We could get a gun control already under good control. First of all, businessmen. Check them out.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. Any response to the caller?
Thank you, caller, for that contribution.
Of course, I was going to say that one. Of course, any closing comments before we take a wrap this morning?
Yes, it'd be imperative to have a closing comment.
Yeah.
Viewers and listeners, we are dealing with the issue of gun violence. At this time, we have an amnesty in respect to bringing in your firearms with no criminal consequence. Take the opportunity. Encourage anyone who you know may have any possession of these illegal firearms. Because what I will assure, at the conclusion of this amnesty, it will not be business as usual.
All right.
The penalty, as is as much as 20 years in prison or $60,000. At the end of this amnesty, the penalty will be greater. Take every opportunity, encourage everyone, because crime fighting is everyone's business. Let us play our part. Thank you.
All right. Once again, thank you, Officer Coutain, for sharing information this morning, and I certainly hope the listeners and viewers will take it in the good faith and do what they has to do, of course, to seize the problem that we have existing right now and get a curve in the good crimes that we are seeing on island.
Correct.
All right. Hey, folks, that's where we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point. Thanks to all who contributed, whether it's via the social media platform, you placed made your comments, or you called in. Thank you once again. Hey, folks, have a great day. That's where we say goodbye for this edition of To The Point.